Hi, good morning. Welcome to Morning Musings with Vanessa Montgomery. I'm from astroallstars.com. And this morning, we're going to talk about feminism, modern feminism, and astrology, of course, because I'm an astrologer and a feminist. So, where are you on feminism at the moment? I'm very interested because we've got so far to go. We've made great strides. We can see the benefits of pushing for equal rights. I mean, it's so basic. You'd think it would be easy, but no, we're still going and lots of backsliding, lots of moving forward. And there's just so much about it. And I've started to notice that there's younger women. There's one in particular I just noticed, made me think about it, doing their PhDs in specific areas with this. And I think that's really interesting. And I'm wondering if you'd be interested in me having her and other feminists on my podcast to have a chat, or on my YouTube, because I would like to chat to them. I think it's really interesting and extremely important, obviously. And I think the backlash is really real. So I've noticed even on TikTok, where I'm recording this at the moment with my little freckles filter, sunny Aussie freckles filter, that if you look at the hashtag feminist, it's mostly choked up with guys trying to dismiss or diminish feminism, feminists, trying to prove how stupid women are or whatever. And that's backlash. And I love that we have all these terms and are coming up with words to describe the experience, because it often feels like things just happen to us and we might think it's because of us. And then you see that greater picture that there's so many women that experience the same issues. So I also noticed there's a lot put on the shoulders of feminism and what that word means. So it's really important to define it, which simply means equal rights, equal respect, equal opportunity. It's about equality. And it's a fight that was really going hard in the 60s and particularly the 70s, and strides were made. And now here we are again. I've never really seen a push like this in my lifetime. So it's very interesting. I noticed it got going and then COVID shut a lot of things down. Women in countries that have bigger problems than us really got shut down. Brazilian women were really starting to get going, and it got shut down. Interesting timing. It's such a shame. Okay, part two, Morning Musings with Vanessa of Astro All-Stars. When we're talking about feminism, casual conversation, but an important one. So it's interesting here in the West, of course, and all the countries connected through a platform and a gateway we all have now, which is the internet. And I think that's what's really driving women's consciousness raising. So that was the big thing in the 70s, was that women would get together in each other's lounge rooms and have these consciousness raising sessions where they'd start sharing experiences and realizing, oh, it's not just me. Why am I putting up with this? Why am I basically a free slave cooking some guy's dinner and not being respected for it? Oh yeah, why aren't we earning equal money? And then we have the intersection, of course, with race. Well, not race, color in particular countries. So I remember reading about women would all be in the typing pool. You know, you just had this hierarchy, women in the typing pool, but then that would be split as well on color. So even further down the rung was black women in America. So the thing, though, I focus on the feminism and then the intersection of that as well, because it's still all women being shut out because of gender. So that's what feminism is. It's like, well, don't use gender to split people. Like, don't split people down a gender divide and put one above the other and give up one opportunities and the other can't have the opportunities. So to me, it's that simple. And then more splits through that. But the main split seems to be down the gender, which is interesting these days because people are rejecting gender And there's lots of ways to approach that conversation, and it's a big deal. It's a really big deal for now. And looking at it from a feminist lens and a bird's eye view, which as a Sagittarius I like to do, there's lots of conversation around that, and I'd really love to have that in another Morning Musings episode. But I'm not going to talk about it just yet. I'm interested in your thoughts, so if you want to start putting them down in the comments section. So yes, consciousness raising for this part 2 is really important to share experiences and also look at internalized misogyny. That's a big one. Your own backlash, gatekeeping and lane keeping, telling other women and yourself, get back in your lane. Like, we all got the memo. We know what we're meant to do. And then breaking out of that is the part of consciousness raising. It's really important. Part 3, Morning Musings around feminism. So there's so many aspects to break down in this. There's obviously the beauty standards. Happen to be using a filter right now with cute little freckles. And there's the relationship stuff. There's gender roles. There's heteronormative, binary, blah. Which is a big deal. And it's breaking down, love it. And there's the to have children or not, and the expectation around that. All of this, I think it's really interesting to look at the history, and it really helps the history. It really helps to understand where we're at today, and not only the external pressures and constant representation of a certain way, but I think the inner policing. I feel it. The inner policing, that inner, you got the memo and you know what you're not supposed to or allowed to do. And breaking through that sounds easy, but it's quite challenging unless you're around an influence that helps you to see differently and break through. So, of course, I'm an astrologer. So one of the ways that I incorporate feminism and look at it and discuss it is through astrology, and bringing that feminist approach and lens to astrology as well, because it's highly gendered and almost everything seems to be split down a gender binary. So how do we get around that? I've written in my books a lot about all of this, and I'm going to focus on it more. But one of the ways, the solutions I have come up with is just don't use gender as shorthand to describe something. So think about what you're trying to describe and then use your words for that, not just say it's feminine or masculine. Like, say Mars is called masculine. Well, what do you mean by that? So use the words. You mean assertive, aggressive, can stand up for yourself, you can go for it. How can you apply that to women, or how can women identify with their Martian principle if it's masculine and we're forced to identify with being feminine and rewarded for that? So there's a lot of studies around not the astrology, but this kind of thing, and how much we've internalized those gender roles. And I think it's totally fine to identify as whatever, but the thing is to open up what that means, what that means. So I'd like to talk more about all of this. It's easier for me to write about it because I can put in all the stats and all the details, and I can have more time to think about it rather than have to write lots of notes and sit looking at them. But that's an example right there. So I hope you have a great day. I'd love to hear from you about feminist issues and breakthroughs and how to move forward. Bye for now.